So guess what I did yesterday, my friends? I'm sure you can guess. Yes, I went book shopping yet again. Hello, bookworms. Kim here, and welcome on back to Bookworm Buzz. My friends, I went book shopping yet again. Can you believe it? And actually, it was very unintentional. I ran off to our local shopping center yesterday. I think you guys in the States would refer to a shopping center as a mall. So I went off to our local shopping center to go and pick up a few goodies for things we needed around the house. And of course, my favorite bookstore, being Exclusive Books, is in that shopping center. And so I decided I would just pop in, I would have a little browse around, and that little browse around turned into, let me show you, this. It turned into me buying a whole bag of books. There are 8 books in here. So I ended up buying 8 new books. And you know what? I'm actually happy about it. I just get such a rush and I have so much fun buying books. So I'm not even going to pretend to sit here and feel bad about it, my friends. So in today's video, I am going to be showing you my latest haul. It is a mixed bag, I must tell you. There is some, I think it's primarily thrillers and mysteries in there. Then there's some contemporary fiction. There's also one fantasy novel. And so, yeah, like I say, it's a really mixed bag. But without further ado, let's kick things off and let me show you what I bought. Right, so I've taken a few books out of the bag. The bag is here, but I'm going to try and just take them out of the bag off screen so that you don't have to deal with all that crinkling and noise. Now, the first book I'm going to show you is a book that I have actually already started, because as I got home from this book shopping escapade yesterday, I finished the book I was currently reading, and so I decided to start this one. This one is called The 7 O'Clock Club, and it's by Amelia Island. Now, this was a little bit of a impulse buy, just because I haven't been hearing a ton about this book, but I have been hearing a little bit. So like I say, I actually started it yesterday, and I am already on page, hold on, there's no page number on there, 103. So I made a little bit of a dent into this one yesterday. Now, I'm not sure exactly what genre this book would fall into. It's not a thriller. I don't think it's a mystery. At the moment, what I can tell you is this book starts off with us as the reader meeting 4 different characters, actually 5. There's one lady who is running some sort of support group. It seems to be a support group for people who are going through some sort of trauma or have experienced some sort of loss. And there are 4 different characters that then attend this support group. So at the 100-page mark, I've really only been introduced to the characters. Like I say, they're 4 distinct characters. They've got very distinct voices. And at the moment, we don't yet know what trauma each of these characters is or has gone through. But now, from reviews that I have read, apparently the first half of this book is pretty normal. It goes along like 4 people trying to deal with their grief, and then something twists and turns, and it turns into something that the reader did not expect at all. So more than that, I'm not going to research, I'm not going to say, because obviously I am currently reading it. And so I don't want to know more because I want to be surprised. So yes, this was the first one I picked up, and so far so good. The next book I bought is very much out of my comfort zone. And looking at it now, I'm not 100% sure I actually should have bought it. But I have been hearing amazing things about this book, and so I decided to pick it up. This is The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Now, I have not read anything by this author before. I know she is immensely popular. She wrote some other books that people go crazy about. I cannot think of the names of them. Oh, the names have just slipped off my head. The Magnolia Parks universe. Okay, so this is the same author who wrote the Magnolia Parks books, which a lot of people love and a lot of people go crazy about. I'm a bit nervous because I'm not sure what this one is exactly. It may be a bit of a romance. It may be a little bit of a contemporary sort of fiction novel. I'm not 100% sure. I know that the Magnolia Parks books, I think are romance novels, but when I saw this one yesterday, I couldn't help but pick it up because of the rave reviews that I have seen so many people giving it. But now, my friends, this may not be my cup of tea. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to go into this one hoping that I'm going to love it. So basically, the very brief synopsis of this book is that there's a family. The father passes away. The one daughter returns to their town or city to attend the funeral. There she catches up with her brother, and she also meets her brother's AA sponsor by the name of Sam. Now, she also then it says she can't help noticing how her brother looks at Sam. And the last thing she wants is to hurt her only real family. And then basically it goes on to say that tensions rise when her father's will is read out, and it seems that he has left an inheritance to some stranger that none of these people know. And to find out who this person is, Georgia and her brother and Sam set off on a road trip to uncover the truth about her father's life. So it seems to be maybe a bit of a family drama, a bit of a romance, a little bit contemporary. Could it have a mystery element to it? I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, not 100% in my wheelhouse, but I'm happy to add it to my shelves and to give this one a go. Then next up is a book that I don't think needs a lot of introduction because it is getting a lot of hype. Some of you may have already read it, and that is this one. This is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This one I understand to be a lesbian vampire story. It's along the lines of a little bit out there. It's a bit fantasy, I think. In fact, when I was in the bookstore, I found this book in the fantasy section. It wasn't with the normal new releases or the adult fiction. It was actually in the fantasy section. I have been hearing amazing things about this book. Oops, let me actually, that bag is getting a little bit in the way. Anyway, I've been hearing amazing things about this book. People are absolutely loving it. Tons of people are giving it 5-star reviews. It is a little bit chunky, as you can see. This one is a bit of a chunker. It comes in at around about 500 pages. So it's not going to be anything that I'm going to read through very quickly. Apparently, it is about lesbians who are also vampires. It also spans different time zones. There's part of the story is set in 1532. Then part of the story is set in 1827. It appears that that part of the story is set in London. And then the story moves on to 2019, which is set in Boston. And the little catchphrase just says, this is a story about life, how it ends and how it starts again. So I'm not sure. Is this a, yeah, I was going to say time travel, but no, I don't think it's time travel in that way. But is it a reincarnation type story? I really don't know, and I don't want to look too much into it because I like to go into my books a little bit blind. So when I do my research, when I work out which books I'm wanting to buy, I will obviously read reviews and I will read the blurbs and I will make sure that I'm happy with what is being said about the book. But once the book is in my hands, I sometimes don't like to read the blurbs too much and to go into too much detail just because I like to keep things a little bit of a surprise. So yes, many of you might have this one on your bookshelves already. If you have read it, definitely comment down below and let me know what you thought of it. And then the next book is yet another one that is in the fantasy genre. Again, I did pick this book up from the fantasy section in the bookstore. This one is called The Incandescent by Emily Tesh. Now, this book actually featured in one of my recent videos. I think it was one of my videos where I was highlighting my most anticipated upcoming releases, and this book was in there. I can see on the back here on the price tag actually that this one only came into the store now in July, so this one is very, very new. Like Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, this one is also a fantasy novel. This one I think is slightly less of a fantasy, but again, like I've already said, it was in the fantasy section. This one is 100% a fantasy novel. I first heard about this one earlier this year and I thought it sounded amazing. It's set in a magic school, but the story is a little bit different because this book is actually told from the point of view of one of the teachers who is working at the school. In fact, she may be the head principal, the head teacher. I'm not too sure. But basically, the story is then told from her point of view. She works at the school and she is responsible for defending and protecting the school from demonic forces. But as the book says, demons are masters of manipulation. It's her responsibility to keep her school with its 600 students and centuries-old legacy safe. But it's possible the entity Walden most needs to keep herself safe, her school safe from, is herself. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I love fantasy novels that are set in magic schools, and I like the fact that this one is told from an adult point of view. Sometimes where I battle a little bit in fantasy, sometimes, is when the point of views are too young. As many of you know, I'm not a YA reader, and I'm not specifically a new age reader either. Or no, they don't call it new age, they call it young adult and new adult, sorry. I'm not much of a new adult reader either. So the fact that this story, it appears, is going to be told from the point of view of one of the teachers at the school, well, that appeals to me. So yeah, this one I will be hopefully getting to soon, because I'm in the mood for a fantasy at the moment. Okay, so that's 4 books down, 4 more to go. And the next book, I'm surprised actually. I did not buy as many thrillers and mystery novels as I thought I did, because none of these first 4 are actually thrillers. And I am a thriller girly. But anyway, I'm happy to have all of these. Now, again, this next one is completely out of my comfort zone. It is not a thriller, but apparently it is just so beautifully written and so lyrical, and that, you know, there are plenty of paragraphs to highlight and that hit one, you know, give one all the feels. Anyway, it's this one, my friends. This one is called The Emperor of Gladness. Now, Ocean Vuong is the author's name. I am probably butchering the surname, so sorry about that. But basically, okay, hold on a minute. Just getting rid of that packet. Okay. So basically, this is a book that I have also been hearing lots about, but just from the point of view of it being a lovely story. It's like I've already said, it's just a story that is apparently so well written, where the language used is almost poetic. And yeah, I just saw it in the bookshop and I was like, why not? Let me give it a try. So basically, this one, I'm just going to read you a little bit from the blurb here. So right at the very top here, it says, Ocean Vuong returns with an achingly beautiful novel about unexpected friendship and the stories we tell ourselves in order to survive. So already, it just sounds lovely, doesn't it? So then the blurb goes on to say, one late summer evening in the post-industrial town of East Gladness, Connecticut, 19-year-old Hein stands on the edge of a bridge in the pelting rain, ready to jump, when he hears someone shout across the river. The voice belongs to Grazina, an elderly widow succumbing to dementia, who convinces him to take another path. Bereft and out of options, he quickly becomes her caretaker. Over the course of the year, the unlikely pair develop a life-altering bond, one built on empathy, spiritual reckoning, and heartbreak, with the power to transform Hai's relationship to himself, his family, and a community on the brink. So the blurb does go on, but I just wanted to give you guys a feel for what this one is about. So probably contemporary fiction, found family, those type of vibes I'm getting perhaps from the blurb. So again, this one maybe is coming across as a little bit of a heavier novel. It might pull on the heartstrings, but I am obviously looking forward to it. And when I saw it, I just couldn't help but pick it up. Right, then moving on to the 3 thriller/mystery novels that I picked up. The very first one is this one by none other than Karen Slaughter. This one is called We Are All Guilty Here. Now, this is also a very recent release. I think it came into the bookstore now at the end of June or the beginning of July. Karen Slaughter is such a fantastic author that I try to read everything she comes out with. This author is a thriller mystery author, but her books go dark. Some of them go pretty darn dark, and I'm here for that. You guys know I can go dark in my reading taste, and in fact with my thrillers, I like it when they do go dark. So I couldn't help but pick this one up. The blurb at the back is pretty simple. It says this: Emmy Clifton has lived here all her life. She thinks she knows her neighbors. She's wrong. She thinks it's just another hot summer night, a night like any other. She's wrong. When her best friend's daughter asks for help, she thinks it's just some teenage drama. She thinks it can wait. She's never been more wrong in her life. As the town ignites in the wake of the girl's disappearance, Emmy throws herself into the search. But then she realizes you never really know a town until you know its secrets. So, yep, traditional sort of thriller, mystery vibes with this one. Sounds like there's a young girl. She clearly goes missing. The town is hiding something. There's probably some evil going on under and below the surface. But, yep, couldn't help pick this one up. It's right up my alley. And so, yep, onto my TBR, this one will go. And then next up is a book that I have actually heard nothing about. I just saw it in the bookshop and it had the word serial killer on the front. And so, hello, tick that box for me. And so I decided to pick this one up. This is called The Midnight King. The author is not an author I'm familiar with. The author is Tariq Ashkanani. Tariq Ashkanani. Male author, it seems. Haven't heard about him before, so I don't think I've read anything from him before. But look what the book says on the top. Husband, father, serial killer. So, of course, my friends, this one appealed to me. So basically, this story is about a father and a son. The father is a serial killer. The son has known about this all of his life, and so the minute he's old enough to escape from home, he does that. But then his father ends up dying. The son comes back home, and while packing up his father's belongings, he finds an unpublished manuscript, which is basically a fictionalized account of his father's hideous crimes. And this fictionalized account is hidden in a box of trinkets, okay? It then goes on to say, trinkets that include a ribbon belonging to a missing 8-year-old girl who disappeared only days before his father's death. Now Nathan must deal with the consequences of keeping his father's secret. More than that, I don't want to know. I'm so excited for this one. Like I say, I had heard absolutely nothing about it when I walked into the bookstore, but I'm so happy to have it. I think it sounds brilliant. And so I think I'm going to have to try and get to this one sometime soon. And then last, but by no means least, is another thriller / mystery novel. And that is this one called The Death of Us by Abigail Dean. This one, like I've said, it's a traditional thriller / mystery novel. I actually had this one on my TBR for a long time. It was also a book that made it into one of my recent videos. And so obviously when I saw it in the store, I couldn't help but pick it up. So the blurb here is pretty quick. It says, it's the story everyone wants to hear. That spring night in South London, when Isabel and Edward's lives were torn apart, the night Isabel learned that the worst things wait just outside the door. The night Edward learned that he was powerless to stop them. The night they never talk about. When their attacker is caught, it's finally time to tell the story of that night, not to the world or to the man who did it, but to each other. This is a story of murder. This is a story of survival. But most of all, this is a story of love. So how different? I mean, when I first heard about this book, I remember reading that it is a mystery and it is a thriller, but it's also an emotional story about two people, about their bond, about their relationship, about love. And so that is very unusual for a thriller / mystery novel. And so, of course, I'm intrigued. Oh, yep, my friends, this is the last book to add to my TBR. It's the last book that forms part of this whole video. So, in summary then, those are the 8 books that I recently hauled. I was not supposed to be buying books, but I couldn't help myself and I don't regret it. So this was a really diverse book haul and I'm so excited with all of these. I hope I'm going to be able to get to them sometime soon. Okay, my friends, on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. I hope you are all plowing your way through some amazing books. And I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Happy reading, my friends. Bye.